Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Professor. Tonight we have a special guest. She is a Kenyan American attorney. Her name is Jully Kiama, who is going to be with us for the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, to talk a little bit about the LSSC PONZI scheme. As you know, a lot of people have lost millions in the Ponzi scheme. And in Seattle, Washington, actually in the entire state of Washington, we have a lot of our brothers and sisters, Kenyan Americans, Kenyans community who live in this area, and they also have been scammed by LSSC. So we're going to have a conversation a little bit about sort of what happened, why is our community so susceptible to that sort of scam, and what can be done so that people can be a little more careful before investing their money in something that they don't understand. So tonight it's a pleasure for me to welcome attorney Julia Kiama. Miss Kiama, you are Kenyan American. You are an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Washington, and you are located in Seattle, Washington. Now, I know that Seattle have a lot of Kenyans. First thing, do we know how many Kenyans live in Seattle? Do we have like sort of a number?
Um, First, I want to thank you for having me on your platform. It's a great pleasure.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, I personally don't have an exact ball number of how many people are live in Seattle, especially in the Kenyan community, but we are quite a large number. I've seen people relocating to Seattle, and Seattle has a huge community, Kenyan community in particular.
Right. A few weeks ago, there was this big event in Seattle, and there was a Kenyan singer. I believe it's Kikuyu. I think it's Kikuyu. I'm not sure. Who came to Seattle, and I wasn't there, but I saw some of the videos, and there were thousands of people there. So I know that in
Correct.
Seattle, they probably at least 50 to 100,000 Kenyan easy, and I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that about
Mhm.
that many.
Well, yes, I agree with you. The community is large, and every now and then I get to meet new people, new faces. So, yeah, I know about the event that you're referring to. That was an event that happened in the month of July. It also brought people from outside the state of Seattle. So, it was a combination of Kenyans from also different parts of the country.
Very good. Now, tonight we're going to talk about obviously your practice, what kind of services you offer to the community. But before we get to that, I mean, I want the viewers, especially the Kenyan people, to know who you are. So, take a few seconds, tell us a little bit about who are you, basically. Who's Julie Kiama?
That's a good question. So, I wear many crowns, but I will focus on my um, professional crown at this point. So, Julie Kiama is an attorney who is barred in the state of Washington as well as in Kenya. So, I am barred in two different countries. And here in the state of Washington, I educate people on the immigration rights, immigration recourses. I mostly focus on immigration related law, but as well, I also want to delve into estate planning because that's a niche that most of our members are not familiar with. And even if it's not for practice reasons, I want to educate people around estate planning and the kind of things that they can do to protect their wealth. I also do a lot of work with the Superior Court. Uh, and basically, I am an all rounded um, advocate of the Kenyan community. I do a lot of volunteer work too in the community and also in the larger African continent. Particularly, I serve as a vice president of an organization called Mother Africa that
Mhm.
helps lots of immigrants who move to this country to acclimate and also be able to adjust in the United States.
Hmm.
So, in a nutshell, I advocate for the African people and Kenyans.
That's good. So you wear many hats. You also a mother, right? You have a
That's
child, which
correct.
is a
Yes.
good thing. Don't forget that part. That's the most
Yeah, that's
important.
why I said I wear a lot of hats. I wear many hats. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a daughter. I
Listen, most
am a
most
sister.
most women wears many hats,
That's
and I
correct.
and I love to see our black women progressing, doing great things, becoming attorneys, defending the community. I think we need more black women attorneys because black women usually do better work than men. Men, I'm sorry. So let's talk about this PONZI scheme, right?
Right.
Um, I'm sure you've heard about this company called LSSC scooter company.
I
And
have.
for the part of the last year and a half or two, there were a number of people from Kenya, and I have met them in Seattle, in Tri City, and other part of the state of Washington. There was this frenzy in the community, in the Kenyan community, about this company. And a lot of Kenyan, just like a lot of Haitians, I'm from Haiti, and I know a lot of Haitians, not necessarily in the state, but in New York and Florida, also lost a lot of money. And the question that I ask professionals like yourself, who often advise people about the legal rights and what can and they cannot do, why do you think it is so easy for our community? And I'm not just talking about Kenyan, I'm talking the sort of the larger African immigrant community to fall prey to that type of Ponzi scheme.
So there are very many factors that come into play, but top of them all is the fact that most immigrants, and not only Kenyans, but immigrants from the African continent, are known to be very industrious. Most of them when they come to this country, they want to better the lives of their families. They want to better their life standards. So they tend to grab any opportunity that presents itself. They are also known to also be very resilient. So you'll find somebody will start something, and within a span of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it will have magnified to a greater thing. So they have that hope that in whatever they want to start, they want to see it succeed. So they become a high target of most scammers because they know very well that these people, the immigrants, the Africans, are people who are desirous to have a better life. They also know that they have huge networks and they have these close knit communities, be it faith communities or social groups, and they see a way to easily penetrate a large number because Ponzi schemes thrive in numbers, thrives in networks, thrives in large groups. So when they penetrate into one African community, they are assured of reaching a wider network.
Now, I appreciate what you said because obviously it's true. Immigrants who come to this country, they come with goals. They want to achieve something. They want to better themselves
Correct.
economically. They want to do well. They want to work hard. I myself is an immigrant who came to this country 47 years ago. I was a long time ago, probably before you were born. And we work very hard like everybody else. But I've noticed in the last 5 years, I have seen the community lost millions and millions of dollars. In my community, the Haitian community, same thing. In the Kenyan community, the same thing. Now, putting aside the fact that we are very industrious people, would like to take opportunity of things, but shouldn't we educate the community about how and what to do before they jump to something? Or is it there's a
Yes.
trust factor?
Well, a platform like yours, which I really like, is an opportunity to educate our community because one thing that I've also learned is that these scammers, they really focus on the financial ignorance that most of the Africans have, or if not ignorance, an exposure because they know if you are able to capitalize on that, then you scoop a lot of money. So just to answer your question on how to easily educate people is by using platforms like yours. The other thing is there is Google, which is very readily available. I believe everybody has like access to a smartphone in the current era. So just a quick Google search can really help people in not falling prey to some of the scams that have already been highlighted by government authorities, or even just by people who are talking about the different scams that keep coming up, because scams will be there. They've been there since time immemorial. They'll still
Mhm.
be there. They just repackage themselves differently. So it is up to us as African communities, as African people, to do some due diligence. And one of the due diligence is by researching. And Google is pretty much affordable to everybody and accessible. So I would take it as a challenge to us all. This particular LSSC, if you did a quick Google search, you would see that it has been highlighted by different people as being a potential scam, even before it automatically now became clear to everybody that it's a scam. People had already started talking about it. On Google, there was like organizations. And I would say for any company that you want to invest in, be it in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoins, just check whether it has been approved by the Better Business Bureau. There are organizations that have their sole purpose of verifying whether a company is legitimate. So our African community need to do a fast stop at search on the Better Business Bureau to see whether this particular company or any other company that will come up, because it will just, these LSSC and many other Ponzi scams or Ponzi's will just sit down and regroup, and they will come up as something different. So it's always good to do a quick background to check whether like an organization like Better Bureau has um, verified it.
So what you're saying is that because here's what I've noticed, and before we sort of go over what people can do to avoid sort of getting preyed on, on the Ponzi scheme. Uh, we have a close knit African community. I would say African community in general, whether it's Haitian, Kenyan, Nigerian, and people tend to trust each other. People tend to trust. If I call someone and say, "Oh, I'm into this thing here, and look at all this money that I have in my account," so people would just invest just because I said to my friend, "It's a good thing to do." But
Right.
my friend who may be telling me this doesn't even know that if he's involved in a Ponzi scheme, he may not even know. And I would venture to say that probably most people who recruited other people probably have no idea that they are actually committing, like participating in a criminal enterprise, so to speak. So that is something, it is hard for us because we have this trust in the community that, oh, I know that Julie is not going to lead me wrong. Julie is doing well. I want to do well. But what can we tell people? Whoever tells you that, hey, this is a big opportunity, shouldn't they themselves be conducting their own due diligence? And you sort of outline a few things people can do. But do you see the same trusting issue in the community?
I think I lost it for a second there. Just repeat your question? Do I see? Just
I
repeat
was
the
talking
question,
about
please.
how in the community we sort of trust each other because somebody says something. So without sort of figuring it out or without sort of trying to do our own due diligence, we just take it for as a gospel and move forward with it. That's one of the biggest problem I see in the Kenyan community. And
That
how
is
do
very
you
true. And
go ahead? Go ahead.
so, okay, one thing that I'll say is that, and sorry, I realize I did cut you short, but one thing I will say is that these scams will capitalize on that fact. And if somebody tells you something is going to benefit you, even if it's your friend, most trusted friend or family member, it's always good to, first of all, identify some of the red flags that most Ponzi scheme uses. And one of the things that I did notice with this LSSC in particular is that there was no actual physical scooter. So there's no way that somebody can tell you that you're going to make money out of a thing that is not real. There's no product. So that should serve as number one red flag in anything that you want to indulge in. If you're selling something and somebody is telling you, yeah, join this particular company and you're going to make a lot of money from it, and we are activating some scooter somewhere, I think the bottom or fundamental question that anybody should ask is, where is this product? Can the product be delivered to me? If that is not the case, then that is red flag number one. The other thing that stood out to me as a red flag in this particular company was the fact that there were no really official apps. Like, you would find that they were using a different platform. Like, I tried to download the LSSC app on either iOS, Apple, or even on Android, Google. They were non-existent. So when I first heard about it, that stood as a red flag. I was like, why is it that I can't find the apps that they're using on platforms that have already been verified? The other thing that Ponzi schemes tend to use is referral, or what I call MLM, multi-level marketing. You gain as you recruit somebody new. That is a red flag. So even when you are really relying on the networks or trust of people that are around you, some of those things should automatically stand as a red flag, even before you invest in anything.
Well, I mean, that's really some of the issues when I research it, that I find out that there was no person sort of in charge of it. It was very hard to sort of find out anything about it in terms of something that would make you believe that this is something real. This is something real. But
That
even
is true.
though, but there were people in the Kenyan community who were, that when I spoke to them about this particular Ponzi scheme, and I've explained to them some of the concern why this is a Ponzi scheme, and some of them claim that I'm telling them this because I didn't want them to get rich, like like somehow they shouldn't get rich.
Yeah.
And I sort of, I don't, it's hard for me to understand the logic of someone saying to you, wait a second, you're going to put your money in this. You got to be careful. You're not going to get your money back. These people are stealing your money. You got to be careful. This is a Ponzi scheme. I mean, have you, when you heard about LSSC, did somebody in the Kenyan community tell you about it or ask you about it?
Yes. Let me tell you, I had for the longest ignored it. So I first had it on social media, but I just passed it and ignored it as a scam. To me, it just screamed the loudest scream that this was a scam. But now it dawned on me that friends are being recruited when somebody close really started talking to me about it, and from the Kenyan community. So here, this is what happened. So we were with a group of friends, and somebody started talking about it and trying to urge us to join them. Okay, so I sat back and I asked myself, should I bust their bubble? Should I not? But I told myself it's important for me to be clear and be very vocal about how dangerous it is for them to be engaging in this type of business. So I just did a quick Google search as we were seated on our dinner table, and I told them it's important for you guys to check the Better Business Bureau before you engage in any company. And looking it up, this company in particular has not been verified by Better Business Bureau. Secondly, it's also a red flag when you are being asked to recruit others. And in their defense, they say, no, once you join, you don't have to recruit any other person. You can just join and earn the $30 a day and be satisfied with that. It's actually not important for you to recruit anyone, but I want to tell you about this so that we can all be rich. That is language that most of these scammers use. They tend to tell people, you know what, you can just join, you don't have to work so hard. But once you're in it, you realize that there are other bonuses that come if you start recruiting people. And my question to them was, if this is such a good and noble business, why are they not advertising in mainstream, mainstream media? And they said, we are not advertising on mainstream media because it's so expensive for us to do that, or for the company to do that. The company is relying on a word of mouth, and instead of pouring all this money in advertisement, they're giving you a bonus. So if I tell you and you tell somebody else, you serve as an advertisement. So it really showed to me how people are just ignorant of how scams operate, because that was like a book, like a sort of like just a textbook example of how these scams thrive in our communities. They tell people advertising in mainstream media is expensive, and the real reason why they don't want to advertise on mainstream media is because they are avoiding being scrutinized by authorities. The authorities, like the Securities Exchange Commission, will be able to see this company that is advertising that it is doing things like trade, whereas it has not been approved by SSC. So they don't want that. They want to be able to recoup as much or siphon money as much as they can before they are busted or before their government notices. So yeah, I think there was a lot of defense with people who were talking about LSSC,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, they sort of like knew at the back of my mind. I'm convinced that people who joined LSSC, they were joining it for their own quick gain before the bubble busted. Because at the end of that dinner conversation, the one main reason why these people still remain in that organization or company was because they wanted to make money as quickly as possible before it became a scam.
But do you believe that there were people from our community who sort of knew that it was a scam and they took a chance anyway to sort of
Yes.
invest and then recruit other people? Because that
Yes.
would sort of subject them to some kind of liability. It's one thing if you don't know that this is a Ponzi scheme and you invested and you sort of tell your mom, your dad, or your friends about, hey, look at all this money that I have, well, fake money that I have in my account. But it's one thing to sort of know this is a Ponzi scheme. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna put in 5, 10,000. I'm gonna recruit a whole bunch of people from my church or from my organization, and then I'm gonna make my money and I'm gonna walk away. So
I think both types of people existed. There are those who knew that this company is potentially a scam, because I'll tell you what, this is not the first scam company to exist. I would say even in Kenya, there was another company that was there several years ago. I still remember, I was young at the time, but I still remember a company that operated on a similar scope where people were being asked to invest and recruit others. There are even still other companies out there that do the same thing. So we are not totally ignorant, to so to speak, about how Ponzi schemes operate. But there's a faction of people who will get in it and hope to recoup as much as they can before it becomes a Ponzi scheme. But now here is the catch. Because you will get in this company and recoup so much money, and you will be tempted to keep on reinvesting and reinvesting again. When it collapses, sometimes even those people who know or who knew get netted in it. On the other hand, there are people who had no idea that this LSSC is a scam. They just relied on their friends, their family members. And I tell you what, especially the older folks, if I tell my mom or my grandmother or my auntie that I'm making so much money, and I'm telling you, these accounts looked glamorous. They looked very good. And I show them that, look at my account. See how much money I invested. See how much money I've made so far. See how much money I'm able to withdraw. Then chances are that person will be persuaded to get in it. So, how a Ponzi scheme works is that it works on numbers. So, the first few people who join it, they get money. I'm not even going to contend about that. They get money. They are able to withdraw. They are able to show others. But those are the pawns, the real pawns, who are pawned by the companies. And then now they themselves will recruit others. And as the network grows, the company will use these recruited people to pay out the initial members, and the cycle continues. But once they are able to not fulfill their payouts, then they freezes the account. Once the account is frozen, anybody who joins in late or who joined in when it was just before or simply before the accounts were frozen, then tends to lose their investment. And that is what is happening with this LSSC. I know for a fact that LSSC has regrouped, and now it is appearing as a different company. And members who had joined LSSC are now being asked to verify so that they can be paid out in this other new group. And you can see some people paying. I believe they had said on August 9th or August 6th, thereabout, that people were supposed to pay $75 to verify. So you see, it comes out as a new, with a new outlook, and they start using the same model, the same conviction style. So yeah, just to answer your question, there are two different groups of people, and there's some who knew that it's a Ponzi scheme or a potential Ponzi scheme, and there's others who didn't have an idea that this is a Ponzi scheme.
Well, you have basically explained it so well. I don't even have to add anything. And I hope that for the people in our community who are watching this show, learn something from it. Just before we end, I sort of want to go over some of the suggestions you made about how to avoid getting taking in a Ponzi scheme. You said first, it's always good to Google the company and see what other people are saying. It's good to sort of check with the Better Business Bureau of your state. If you're in the state of Washington, you could call the Better Business Bureau. You can actually Google Better Business Bureau Washington and call them. And it is good to look at transparency, right? Do they have a
Right,
website? Do they have
right.
a CEO? Do they have an address? Are they registered? And if they claim that they are licensed by a U.S. government or some government, sometimes it's overseas, right?
Right.
So there are ways to find out where they're registered. So you have to look at. Now,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you've said that I've outlined are good things for people to do. But the problem that I see is even though you tell the people, hey, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
if you don't know how to use a computer, have your kids do it for you. Have somebody else, younger, who probably know how to do it, to sort of do it for you and find the information for you. But yet, I have had so many people telling me that the reason they didn't research, do anything, is because the person is such a person they trust so much and they have so much respect for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is in the church. This is the guy who's the leader of their organization. This guy
They're
is
pastors.
the pastors.
Right.
So I think we are fighting against a belief that people respect certain people in the community, and when they say something, they just take it without checking. So basically, what we're telling people is it doesn't matter who offered you, right? It doesn't matter if it's me or you or anybody else. If you call me, Julie, and you said, Manny, I have this really investment I need you to get involved with. Now, you're an attorney, I'm an attorney, I trust you, I know you. I know you wouldn't tell me about something that you know it's illegal. You can't do that. You lose your license over that. But
Mm-hmm.
even then, I would still check, right? Just for
Yes.
myself. I still conduct my own due diligence, right?
Right. I have this principle in life. Anything that person tells me, I believe it, but I verify. So believe, verify. Whether
Well,
it's an
it's
attorney,
something
whether
funny.
it's a pastor, whether
Mhm.
it's your sibling, your daughter, your parent, believe but verify. So the challenge that we have in the African community is people believe and it ends there. Nobody takes the next step of verifying. And it's a shame that this particular company has also caused a lot of animosity. there are people who are not talking to each other. Because, for example, if you asked me to invest in this company and I invested my $5,000, $10,000, unfortunately, there are people who also took their 401k and invested in this and lost all their life savings. Do you think I've ever talked to you? So it has brought a lot of vendettas, it has brought a lot of animosities between individuals who either trusted each other or had like great respect for each other. So it's a shame that these scammers tend to bring a lot of conflict even among members of the same
No,
family, right?
I've talked to people, and I spoke to someone yesterday from Canada who's from Nigeria, not from Kenya, and she
Mm-hmm.
was explaining to me how she's a teacher, her husband is a teacher. They don't work during the summertime, so they had a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of money saved up, 25,000, and they
Wow.
decided that they were going to invest it. And it was a friend of the family who showed them her account and how much money she was making, and then they put the entire $25,000 into this.
Mm-hmm.
And two things happened to her. Number one, when the company went down on July 11, suddenly she couldn't have access to her account.
Oh
But
my.
then she had to pay an extra $400 to try to verify the account that
Mm-hmm.
that was fraudulent to begin with. After
Mm-hmm.
she paid the $400, they said to her she need to invest another 2,500.
Wow.
So it's and I am talking to this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to keep my composure. I don't want to, yell. But then in my head, I'm saying, woman, you're a teacher. Where's your common sense?
Mm-hmm.
At some point along the way, we got to use some common sense.
That's
If
true.
she's upset about the person who invited her, fine. You want to be upset about her, you can be upset. But I think what we need to tell our community is each one of us has a
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to ourselves to make sure we do our own research. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your wife, your husband, your
Correct.
best friend from childhood who basically brought something to you that involved you putting money into it. You have to do your own due diligence,
Right.
because I don't know anyone who got into any business without sort of, okay, let me go find, I know what they tell me, but let me
Mm-hmm.
go find out what the truth is.
Right.
So I think this is something that, Julie, you and I gonna keep talking about it. We're going to continue
Yeah.
talking to the Kenyan community here, the Haitian community, and hopefully people would learn. Now, we only have 5 minutes left. I want to talk about your practice. You're in Seattle,
Right.
and you do immigration, right? You defend people in immigration. I remember the first time I met you, it was at immigration. It was at ICE detention center, right?
Right.
You were trying to get a client out. I was trying to get somebody out.
Yes.
So, and that's where we met. So, do you have an office in Seattle? Where can people find you if they need to talk to you?
Well, mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So, yes. So I am a young attorney. I am trying to establish my firm currently. So I don't have a physical location, but I consult virtually. So anybody who would like to reach out to me can contact me directly. I am happy to share my number and also my email address where people can be able to reach me easily. And my can I start with sharing my email address?
You absolutely, man. Sure, sure, of course, sure.
So just give me a second here. Like I said, so for people who want to reach me, they can reach me through Mengesa and Kiama. And I dropped my camera. Can you see me? Can you still see
Yes,
me?
yes,
Okay.
I hear the noise. Yes,
Sorry. And I want to spell that out. So it's Mengesa and KIAMA LLP@gmail.com. So you
you
can
know what?
contact.
I think it would be easy to give a phone number. Is
Okay,
that?
so yes, my phone number is 425
Mm-hmm.
47. Can you hear me? I
Yes,
don't
four
know
two
why.
five
Okay,
four
four two
seven.
five.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 425 470 8747.
Perfect. It's under your name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's
Yes,
four
and
two
just
five.
before we even close up this LSCC discussion, I just wanted to say that these LSSC was also in South Africa under the same
Mhm.
model, under the same. So people should really watch out because it is going to come back with a different name, and I
Of
believe they've
course,
already
they
started.
already listen. They already come back under a name called Andes, ANDES, and
Yes,
Andes now is like a reincarnations of sort of LSSC, and they did the same thing with Emini Effect. They did the same thing with Novatech. They did the same thing with Omega Pro. The same thing
yes,
with OneCoin. It's just the same people,
yes,
sort of
yes,
doing this over and over again, and our people keep falling prey. They keep losing money, millions, and it hurts me to see our community lose so much money. And it's very, very hard to recoup this money. You will spend years and years in court trying to fight people, and it's hard to find them. When you find them, even if you sue them, if you get a judgment, you're still going to have to collect, and you have to hire
yes,
investigators to sort of locate the asset. And as you know, you're an attorney, there's asset, forfeiture and finding the asset and trying to seize the asset. It's a long legal process that takes a long time, a lot of energy. So the best thing for people to do is to not try to get rich quick, and which is sort of the thing that we want to tell the community. There's no way for you to get rich quick. You're not going to be a billionaire tomorrow.
no,
And I tell people this all the time, and I like to give them the example of Amazon, Tesla, Facebook. And I tell people those are companies who spend years.
correct.
Amazon went 15 years without making a profit, a single dollar profit. All
Mm-hmm.
they were doing is spending money, but they were investing, knowing that after 15, 16 years, they're going to make a profit. Of course, they made a lot of money, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes 15 years. What make you think that if you invest 10,000, 20,000, somehow you're going to get $1 million? I don't see the logic. Why do people feel that they can do that?
I
Because,
also don't know why people think that they can be millionaires the following day or the next day. It takes time.
of course, it
It
takes
takes time.
years to invest.
That's true.
Well, I hope that our community are listening. I hope the Kenyan community is certainly listening. To you, obviously, you are Kenyan. Well, you are Kikuyu, right? What's tribe are you? Kikuyu,
I love Kikuyu.
right?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
a mix of two tribes. So, but anyway, tribe stuff is a big deal in Kenya. So I'm Kenyan.
that's what I said. I agree with you. That we,
Yeah,
we,
I
we,
have two tribes in me, but we don't really focus on the tribal issue
exactly.
in Kenya.
You're just Kenyan. That's all
I'm
it
just
is. Now
Kenyan,
Kenyan
period.
American.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Miss Kiama. I really appreciate this. Please do come back again when you set up your office. Let me know so we can sort of do another interview. And I would love, I appreciate you being here trying to educate the community. Let's look at what the authorities are doing. I know that there are a couple of investigations going on, so we don't want to sort of talk about what people can do. We let the investigation play out. But it's such a pleasure to have you. You have the last word. Go ahead. You have the last word.
All right. So what I'll say is that yes, if you have any immigration questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Like I said, I am setting up the farm, but I do have partners who've been in the practice for a while. So it's not like you'll be contacting a novice. It's practice that also has other attorneys. So feel free to contact us and let us know how we can help. Secondly, let's also avoid being targeted by these Ponzi schemes or Ponzi companies because they know our communities work really hard. I don't think there is any person who moved from their country to come here and just lazy around. People in the African community work extremely hard. You'll find somebody working 16, 18 hours a day, and you don't want that money to all go down the drain. So when you hear of these get rich quick schemes, please don't fall for them. People will come and paint a beautiful picture about how they are driving the newest model out of these companies. Just know those people are pawns and end it there. Let's not keep falling for these Ponzi schemes that are regrouping every single day because you're making somebody rich somewhere. The other thing is, if a company is not registered in the US, stop sharing your personal identifying information. The Ponzi company, this LSSC, was based in Hong Kong. You're sending out your bank details, you're sending out your social security details, your names, your addresses to people that you don't even know. If somebody decided to exploit you today, they can literally append your life because they have all your details. Even when you open another account, your social security remains the same. So let's not fall for that. The last thing that I'll say is that there could be some immigration consequences for those people who engage in Ponzi schemes. We are in an era where the government is trying as much as possible to eject the immigrant community from the United States. So any mistake that you do, and on these application forms, you are asked whether you have ever engaged in fraud. Engaging in scams is a fraudulent action. So be careful because it can also jeopardize your naturalization or adjustment of status in this country. So let's just be watchful and careful in these type of schemes, and let's make money legitimately. There are companies and banks here in the US that engage in, trade, like trading. Put your money in a forex, or not forex rather, but trading company. Forex is back in Kenya. Sorry, in a trading company, for example, one that comes on top of my mind is like Charles Schwab. Such companies will invest that money in legitimate companies like Tesla, and you will be able to get your money slowly but steadily. You will not become rich tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but you'll know for sure that your money is being invested properly, and you will be able to account for the profits at the end of the year by filing your taxes. One thing that I wonder is how people who recouped money from LSSC will be able to file for their taxes. I don't think the company will be giving you any W-2s or 1099s. So we're still yet to see come April 15th next year what people will do. But that is just a cautionary statement to alert everybody that you should be aware that there are always consequences in anything that that you do, especially when it comes to money. In this government, you have to account for the money. You have to account for your income. So let's just be watchful, and it's important for us to be very careful. That's
Again,
all I'm gonna say. Money.
yes, absolutely. Money is hard. It's hard to make. We have to. Now, one of the thing I want to talk to you about, and we can't do it today, but I know you were talking about state planning.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that the Black community have no idea what state planning is about. You and I, as attorneys, we understand it. We talk about it. We know what to do to protect whatever little asset we have. But I know a lot of people in the Black community, especially in Washington State, KENYAN, who are working very hard. They have an adult family home, and they're trying to piece their penny together, but they don't have any understanding. So what I want to do with you, Julie, I want you to come back
Okay.
and we're going to talk specifically about state planning. How can
Right.
people plan their retirement? How can they sort of whatever little money that they have? It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be 100,000. But how can they make plan so that they'll be able to keep that money grow? So when they retire, they have something. Whether they're going to invest in the country, whether they what they're going to do. And I think this is something that you and I would schedule a different show, and we're going to talk about state planning for immigrants, which is most people might find sort of a misnomer because they don't think we have any money, but we do have a little bit. We work hard for it, but we do have a little bit. It's not a lot, but I think
Yes.
we could find a way to sort of protect what we have. Again, thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate you coming in.
You're welcome.
Let's keep in touch, and let's schedule another show. Probably a month from now, we'll come and talk about state planning.
Perfect. I'm
Thank you so much.
happy to talk
Thank you.
about that. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to be on your platform today.
Thank you so much.
You're
Good night.
welcome.
Well, guys, thank you for watching the professor. We just finished. We had our guest, Jully Kiama, who's an attorney from Kenya. She's Kenyan American, great attorney. If you have any issue dealing with immigrations, please do giving her a call. Her number is on the screen. So I thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you really want to do that, and I'll tell you why. In the next few months, I'm going to bring a lot of information that you're going to want to hear. information that would make you money, information that would save you money. So you have to subscribe to my channel so that when I have a guest, you would know, you'd get a notice, or when I drop a video, you would also know you'd get a notice. Again, thank you so much for watching. And wherever you are watching, good night, good day. May God bless you. Keep being safe. Keep safe, please. And do not invest in Ponzi scheme. Before you invest in a Ponzi, call the professor. Thank you. Good night.